I am attempting to make pupusas. My eyes! Hope there's filling in there. Hello there. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. If you've seen some of my other videos, you would know that I am not a very good cook. I've come a long way, but I'm still not like the best cook. I get easily flustered or frustrated, and I'm clumsy, and I tend to make a lot of mistakes, and also I think I'm a little bit of impatient. Anyways, I am Canadian. Yes, I am Canadian citizen, but ethnically, my background is Salvadorian. And there are a few things in El Salvador that we are known for, primarily the pupusas. If you have not heard of pupusas, they are these corn flour cake. It's not a cake. We do also make them with rice flour, but it's like it kind of looks like a patty, but it's filled inside with different things. Traditionally, it's beans, cheese, or pork, or you can make any combination of them. My husband has had pupusas before. We've been together for about 7 years now, so of course he's had pupusas. It's one of actually on our first official date, he had pupusa. We were at a food festival, so there was a food truck and they had pupusas. So the women in my family, like the elders, I will call them, the matriarchs in the family, are all great cooks, and like I could never compete with my mother or my grandma or my grand aunt. But of course, I've grown up seeing them make pupusas. I have made pupusas before, but usually like everything is pre-made for me. But I know how to like make things, except the pork. I don't eat pork, I just don't like it. And Masa doesn't like the pork ones either. Although like my mom makes really good pork ones, but it's just our favorites is like the bean and the cheese. The thing I've been struggling with in Japan is finding certain ingredients, and I could not find my beans. It's like impossible. So El Salvador has special beans. They actually kind of look like the Japanese beans, but totally different. And they're called red silk beans or frijol de seda. I can't find them here. Anyway, so I am attempting to make the cheese and bean pupusas. But this is going to be a 2-day process, mainly because prepping. So beans, I am going to replace them. I'm going to use red kidney beans instead. I know some people say you can make it from canned refried beans. I don't like those. I'm just not a fan. I've grown up with high quality beans, so I need my beans from scratch. So I'm going to be using red kidney beans. I am going to be using, I forgot the name, Naturello? Anyway, so somebody did recommend on TikTok, because I made tortillas using pan, which worked out really great actually for our tacos. They were a little bit more like sturdier, and Masa really likes the tortillas using pan. So sorry, Masika. But for pupusas, I just kind of want to go with something a little bit safer, and somebody recommended using the so this is the one I will be using for the pupusas, and this is the one I've been using for the tortillas, which is I'm sorry, I've already opened it. As I mentioned, this is going to be a 2-day process because of the prep. The beans I need to boil. Tomorrow, I am going to blend. I'm going to blend the beans and refry them. And that's also a process. takes a while. It takes a long time because you don't want it like too watery. Like you gotta get it like a nice firm consistency because you're gonna be putting it in the masa, making a little ball and blah, blah. And I'm also making curtido today. You can make like fresh curtido the day of, but it's always a little bit better if you've had it kind of like pickled overnight just for the flavors to really come through. And I am heading to the store quickly just to see if they have jalapenos. I kind of like my salsa a little bit spicy. So I'm gonna go do that and then buy some containers to put the salsa and the curtido. The last time I made pupusas, I was living in Victoria, British Columbia, and one of my besties, we were living together, and I wanted to make her pupusas, and rookie mistake, I used like cold water for the masa and my pupusas crumbled and I got angry and gave up. So this time I have learned to use warm water, hot water if I'm using bun, and yes, my masa will be good this time. So got it. And then I was even like messaging my family because they're in Mexico right now, and my brother's like it's not that hard to make pupusas. Like, I've made it before. So that puts a lot of pressure on me that, like, my brother's made pupusas by himself at home, you know? So I'm determined to make good pupusas for Masa. I'll record his reaction eating my pupusas. I don't know if I'll actually show his face because he just had, like, minor surgery. So I don't know that he wants his, like, to be on camera right now, but I'll at least record him eating it and stuff. So okay, I'm off. I came back from the store. I did not find jalapenos. It took a lot of like conversation between me and ChatGPT, and I ended up getting a like chili pepper that I've never heard of and never used. They do have jalapenos in Japan, you just gotta look for it. I guess I procrastinated. I just assumed I could find it anywhere. I'm gonna wash my beans. Always wash your beans. And I will start boiling it. One thing I was thinking about is that these gas stove, at least this one, kind of times out. It turns off, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to keep turning it on because this is like, it takes hours. Maybe there's a setting I don't know. It's kind of annoying. I was telling Masa this story too. If you come from a Latin or like Hispanic family who eats beans, you've burned your beans at least once in your life. Because in our situation, maybe our parents would go out and they're like, keep your eyes on the beans. And it's kind of like your job to make sure that the water is like, if it's going too low, you have to keep adding water. But you know, kids or even teenagers, even adults, you know, you get on your phone, you start scrolling or watching something, and the next thing you know, you've burned the beans. I was just telling him about all the bean burning incidents, but in this case, I might not even cook the beans because the stove might turn off. And then I'm also gonna start prepping the stuff for the curtido. And I forgot to buy a container for the curtido. I'm gonna just leave the beans soaking for a bit. I feel like I've heard that you should leave them soaking for a bit. Good old thick cabbage. Got the tiniest of the little red onions. Oh, it's so cute. The potato for now. Okay, my beans are ready and I don't have a blender, so I'm using this little blender thing. I'm doing it very, very slowly before I start refrying the beans. So with Salvadorian beans, I don't usually add a bouillon, or we call them cubitos in my Spanish household. We say cubitos, but usually people use stuff kind of like Maggi or something. I like these ones because they're vegetarian, but they have like a chicken flavor, beef, and a vegetable one. This one's my favorite, but I'm going to use this one. And these ones I bought in Canada, and I really love them. They're so delicious, and I can't get them in Japan, but gotta use them up or else they'll go bad. So I've started refrying my beans, and I'm gonna add one of these just because this bean, it's okay, but it's not as good as the Salvadorian bean, so I just need a little bit of flavor. Hopefully I don't mess it up, but I mean, even with Salvadorian bean, people usually add some sort of MSG, although this is technically not MSG. No MSG, no artificial coloring, no fat. Anyways, frying beans is so messy. Okay, we are on day 2, and I mean, this is the final day. I will be making the pupusas today. And this here is the refried beans. Or I fried them yesterday and then I refried them again today. I'm letting it cool, and then I will be making the salsa. And I haven't tasted it yet, and I do have the curtido that I made from yesterday. I still can't get over that I forgot to buy a glass jar. I really don't like putting this in plastic, but oh well. That is the curtido. I mean, it's still vinegary, but if I'm being honest, when I was growing up, I actually never liked curtido. But my son loves curtido, and he will have to eat this whether it's good or not. Mozzarella cheese is a little bit of a cheat. Mozzarella cheese was not the cheese we used to make pupusas growing up. It was actually a weird combination of cheeses. And sometimes they would put loroco in the cheese, which is this, I guess, some sort of green vegetable flour thing from El Salvador. I personally do not like lorocos. I am sorry to my fellow Salvadorians, but I don't like lorocos. But they would mix that with the cheese. And then just in Canada, we just used what was available to us, and mozzarella cheese kind of became a thing. I don't think mozzarella is a traditional cheese to use, but a lot of people do use it. You can mix with different kinds of cheese. Sometimes I've seen something that looks like a little bit like a ricotta cheese mixed with like mozzarella cheese and blended together. You can put different things in the cheese, like loroco, lorocos or jalapenos. My parents have used whatever. There's, I've seen them make it with marble cheese. I mean, this was like in nothing else available. My dad even made a pupusa once with paneer cheese, which is kind of funny because paneer cheese doesn't melt. Like it's from Indian food. It is a cheese. It's just I guess he'd never used it before. Like, oh, I'll try this. And it was funny. We've actually made a fusion. We've had paneer pupusas. And I need to change because I can't cook looking like a rabbit. So it's kind of like the consistency. It's so thick, which it should be. It should be very thick. This is the pepper that I bought yesterday. Okay, so it does have a spice. It's like a mix between a mild jalapeno and a green pepper. Like, I know green pepper is like a sweet green pepper. It's got that like green pepper
bitterness is what I think is throwing me off. Almost a little bit sweet, but then there is almost like a black pepper spice in the back of your throat. Oh, I'm tasting it. Okay. Oh yeah, no. It's got a spice. Woo! Yeah, it's got a spice. Maybe I should throw some of this in the curtido. I'm not allowed to gossip when I'm using this knife because I tend to do this a lot when I'm talking. No, not in the kitchen, 11. I grew up eating very traditional Salvadorian food. I was always there when they were prepping for like the tamales or pasteles. Pasteles are in El Salvador. You gotta remember sometimes we have different names and it might be different in something else. So like pasteles might be known more like a fried empanadita, like with corn flour. And you can put like a chicken or cheese. I swear these days you can put anything you want in anything. You can make pupusas out of anything as well. There's so many new flavors, and I think that's the fun thing about cooking. It's like it doesn't have to be one way. There was even a time when Masa made a takoyaki. Oh, kimchi with cheese, and it tasted a lot like a pupusa with curtido in it. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can make pupusa takoyaki. Oof, my eyes. I don't know. I've never had red onions make my eyes cry, but the ones in Japan always make my eyes cry, and I don't know why. Yeah, I think I'm like blabbering. I can't think. Ooh. We have similar food items, but they're called different in, like, let's say Mexico and El Salvador. My parents lived in Mexico for a while, and my brother was born in Mexico. And when she lived in Mexico, my mom was she was a cook for a family, and she learned to cook like Mexican style food. So she sometimes incorporates her like Salvadorian cooking with Mexican style. So she kind of knows how to make both different types, or she'll make a combination. But some things still we grew up eating as like Salvadorian. So it's kind of funny because one time I went to a Mexican restaurant and I ordered an enchilada. And an enchilada in El Salvador is not an enchilada in Mexico. So I think the more equivalent Mexican one would be like a tostada, which is the enchilada of El Salvador. So sometimes if you order the thing, right? Or if you say like a pastel, they're probably going to give you a cake, because pastel is a cake, right? But in El Salvador, a pastel is it's like a little fried empanadita with like fillings and stuff. And you also eat it with like salsa and curtido. And then what else do we have that's a bit different? The quesadilla. A quesadilla granted, if you do go to like maybe like a Mexican chain or something in El Salvador and you order like it says quesadillas, they do have like the tortilla with the cheese or the beef or whatever. They do have those kind of quesadillas. But in El Salvador, a quesadilla it's a dessert. It's a bread. So be careful. If you ever go to El Salvador and you want a quesadilla, you're gonna get like maybe a coffee with a piece of cheese bread thing. Also, arepas and pupusas look similar. They are not. I think arepas are more like buttery. And to make the pupusa, you make it together, right? I know some, I'm not sure that it's arepas, but there's another one where you have a tortilla and then you like cut the tortilla after and put filling in. That is not a pupusa. So the pupusa, you need to make the masa ball, put the filling, flatten it up, and then grill it all together. So you want all that gooiness with the tortilla and everything. Okay, do I sound like I'm a professional? I am not a professional. Oh, also, some people don't like the fresh salsa. Like some people prefer They prefer the consistency of like crushed tomatoes in a can because it's not as watery, I guess. This is the way I like it. But it's like, even in my family, it's a debate. Sometimes my mom had to make it like half and half just to please us all. Remember how I added a chili to this? 0 spice. It's even sweet. I'm like, what the hell? It's an interesting cheese, different color. I don't have a food processor, so I just kind of cut the cheese into smaller pieces manually. It's really hard to show you what I'm doing since I have no room and I don't want to like burn my phone. I have a little thing with water here and one with oil on the other side. Professional people don't use this but I'm using a spatula. Right, here is the finished result. Salsa that ended up not being spicy, but we do have hot sauce, and we even have like Tabasco or something else we can need. Curtido, and then so embarrassed. My weird misshapen pupusas. You're gonna eat the little one, the tiniest little one. And real Salvadorians eat this with their hands, but we're not going to. Tomate, I need your reaction, but I'm still feeling my pupusa. All right, the first little pupusa. God, I hope there's filling in there. It is the last one. Look at the cheese. I did put more cheese in the last ones. Whoa! I did put cheese in the last ones. Wow, it's like a pizza pupusa.
Very tasty.
At least that's first pupusa.
That's good.
Yay! So your first one was success, even though you ate the last one that came out. I shall eat. That is it. I put a little bit of chile in that one.
Yeah, it has a little bit of spiciness.
I put the Japanese chile. It's so tiny. Can you see it? So tiny. Alright.